Okay, fantastic. And we are live, I can see.
You should be able to turn your video on now, Glenys.
Here we go. Hello, everyone. We've got the video. So, Chris, can you hear me? No, by the look on your face, I don't think you can hear me.
I can see you now, Glenys.
You can see me, Phil? Fantastic. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, look, I am just, I'm a bit new to this, so I'm just going to welcome everyone here today to, this is our very first drive home webinar with the RoB Academy, and it's Wednesday, the 17th of July, and we're talking business on the drive home. So currently I'm coming to you from Melbourne. It's Glenys Gassman from More Customers, More Profits. And I have with me Phil East, and Phil's from Profit Improvers, and he's just east of Melbourne, a couple of hours east of Melbourne. And Phil deals with, well, he works with small businesses all around the world. And we are going to talk to you tonight about a proven 5-step profit formula that you can use to double your profit. So, Phil, you got anything to say about that? Welcome, firstly. Thanks for being here.
No, thank you, Glenys. Yeah, well, all I can say is the 5-step profit formula is proven with all my clients. I follow it religiously and have great results. And yeah, it's just a matter of implementing everything that's involved.
Yeah, it is. It's all about implementation. Knowing makes no difference, does it, really? And welcome to everyone that's online today. Thank you for spending your time driving home with us. You know, we're going to go through what the 5-step profit formula is, and we're going to have a bit of fun doing that and giving you a few scenarios of maybe how you can actually put this into your business as well. And then we've got lots of questions. We've got question and answer time, Q&A. So, you know, if you want to throw some questions up on the Q&A as we're going through, please do that. And Phil and I will answer those towards the end. So, yeah, how's the day been for you, Phil? Pretty busy?
Good busy. Had a few clients, worked with a few clients today.
Yeah.
And helped them with some strategies and getting some new clients and a couple of others. Just getting started, so a bit of a mixture. Right?
Today, you know, I had a day where there's so much out of integrity with business these days. Do you find that people just either don't rock up to appointments or they rock up late? What sort of world would we have when people actually turn up to appointments on time, you know? I had a day where a couple of those happened, and it was great because I got some bonus time to finish doing some things that I really wanted to do. But, you know, like, I think business in general, you know, I don't know about you, but I think business in general, we need to really smarten up. And if we really are in business to double profits, we need to actually, yes, we have to have integrity because it's the foundation for performance, I found. And we also need to be implementing some strategies, which is what we're going to go through tonight, you know. Well, what do you find about with, you know, integrity is the foundation to performance? Can you give me some examples, or what do you think about that?
Well, probably personal integrity is the first thing, isn't it? Doing what you say you're going to do. So if I told you I was going to be there at 2 o'clock, I'd be there at 2 o'clock. So that's probably the main driver of the lot.
That's it, you know. And if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, well, there's the action that wasn't taken, and then there's the performance that goes down the drain. So a lot of what you're going to hear tonight, everyone, today is going to be all around taking actions and some strategies around that. So I'm going to actually just get onto the next screen and share the next screen with you and talk, and I'll stop my video as well, and we'll get on to you know, how do you get results from a 5-step profit formula, right? So, you know, if you ask any small business owner what they really need in their business, most of them say 2 answers every time. It's more customers and more revenue, right? But the problem is that what most customers really want, they want clients. They just want to produce more money, you know. But to get that money, they have to get leads. And then they got to convert those leads into clients. And by breaking that down, the end result of wanting more clients is a vital component, and it's required to generate them. So namely, leads and conversions is the two crucial things around this. And I've put together some strategies and a plan of action to get that sort of result. So the 5 key areas in any business, whatever any industry you're in, is always going to be leads, conversions, transactions, prices, and profits. And you can see from, if you are looking and on the screen, you'll get to see that, you know, when we put a 10% increase in behind each one of those 5 key areas, we can double in profits, right? And I'm going to get to show you, talk to you about how we do that. Of course, if you want to get a couple of more strategies in behind each one of those 5 key areas, you know, you can start seeing that you start making, you know, getting into $500,000 profit, which is life-changing event for any business owner that gets to that. So what does it take to produce more revenue? You know, like first you've got to generate the leads, then you've got to convert them, and then those clients got to pay you a specific value for what you sell. And so sale value is the first component in any revenue equation, but it doesn't really stop there. You know, you've got to pay expenses to come out of that revenue. And, you know, it could be expenses it cost you to actually make that sale, which is your marginal expenses. And then how much, then you've got other expenses that you'd have to pay out. But really, when it gets down to it, how much did you really get to put in your pocket? So what if you could actually compel your clients to increase the number of transactions they actually buy from you year after year? Now you've got something to really build on, because if you don't do that, you've just got to continually lead generate all the time. What do you find with that, Phil? You know, do you find that most of the businesses don't really think, you know, far enough ahead to ensure that the ones that they do get buying from them are actually buying them from them on a regular basis, and they're innovating? What have you got to say about that?
The chase for more customers is so heady that a lot of the times it finishes at the sale, where that should actually be where your relationship starts, at the sale.
Yeah,
so I find the chase for the next one sometimes overrides the fact that, hang on, you've just brought a customer on board. Let's look after them.
Yeah, true. So look, those 5 key areas that I mentioned, you know, leads, conversions, transactions, prices, and profits, you know, we need to back that up with some specific strategies and put that in place into your business. And it's all about putting it in place in the right order. So it's like baking a cake. You're not going to go and put, you know, eggs and milk into the oven and then bring it out and put some butter and flour in and expect to get a cake. You know, it's all around to get performance and to get this happening. You've got to put the stuff into the right order. And those numbers up on the screen really starts to illustrate, you know, when we do get a 10% increase, we get like 1,100 leads rather than 1,000. And we convert them at an extra 10% from 25% to 27.5%. Then all of a sudden we're working with 303 customers, not 250, right? So all of a sudden, just because we've gone out and we've got some great lead strategies that are going to get those quality leads to us, and we're converting at a higher rate, we all of a sudden start getting more people that we can sell our wares to, yeah? But what I found in my accounting days, and I know, Phil, you're an accountant, you've got accounting experience behind you, as well as banking experience as well. To double your profits and create exponential growth, you've got to start with the baseline. And that means you've got to know your numbers, your current numbers in these critical areas. So first you've got to really work out where you're up to right now. And then once you have them, you've got to go to yourself, well, what do you need to double those profits and to make sure that you're spending your time doing the things that you should be doing, you know? And I find that crucial. And I can say right now, categorically, there are about 75% of businesses know their numbers, and there's 25% that don't. When I go and see a business, most of the time, they haven't got the type of numbers ready to give me straight away. And especially around activity, around leads and conversions. Like, how many leads did you get last week or last month? And from what source? And how many converted? So if you don't know that sort of stuff, how do you know where to put your time and money to actually generate more leads of the same quality? What do you find with that out there in the real world, Phil, when you're talking with people? Do they know their numbers? Do they know the activity that's going on?
You must deal with a few better quality clients than me, because I find even I've worked with some people who are turning over $1.5 million and couldn't tell me what they actually turned over, or they just sort of too caught up in the business of being in business rather than to take a notice. And sometimes that step back and have a look at the 5-step profit formula and see how it applies to their business.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a wake up. It makes a bit of a difference.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. So first, if you've got a pen and paper with you tonight, you're listening in, the first thing that, I want you to do is to ensure that you know your numbers, know your baseline. And, for what I've got up on the screen, we're basically saying this business has got a baseline of 1,000 leads coming in for the year. And their conversion rate is 25%. So that means that 1 in every 4 people they sit in front of agrees to buy from them. Yeah. So 250 customers out of those leads. So that's probably about a normal rate for people. If they were referrals, obviously, you're going to get a higher conversion rate. But sometimes the people who don't know you, like you, or trust you, they're going to need, you might be down at 15, 20%. You've got to take these people on what I call a buyer's journey to actually have them know, like, and trust you enough to be able to come on board and be a customer of you. But let's just say that the annual transactions for this baseline is 10. So each of your 250 clients buys what you sell 10 times a year. And then let's further assume that the average sale for that is $100. So your 250 clients are buying $100 worth of product or service from you 10 times a year for a total annual revenue of $250K. But then you've got to subtract out all of the expenses, like you might have rent or, marketing expenses, cost of goods sold, all of those sorts of things. And let's just say that, your profit margin is 25%. Which leaves you with a profit of 62.5K, right? So the trick is now we've got to find ways to increase each one of those 5 key metrics in your business. Now, 25% on bottom line is pretty good. Like if you're doing, where else are you going to get 25% on your investment these days? Like bank interest is what, 1%? I'm not sure. We at that stage, Phil?
I think it's a little bit less than. I think it's a little bit less than that when you put it in.
Exactly.
When you're wanting some of theirs, it's a little bit more, but when you're putting it in, it's not very much. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I always say to the clients that I'm working with, we aim for 12.5% to 25%. Anywhere from 12.5 on the bottom line to 25. That's after wages, their super. That's after all of what they're entitled to if they were actually going out and getting a job somewhere else, right? So if you're getting a 12.5% return on your investment for the year, you're doing really great. So with the help of, the RoB Academy. So we've just launched the RoB Academy and with the Referrals Over Breakfast Networking Group. So we're coming to you from the Referrals Over Breakfast Networking Group. And we've got the RoB Academy. And with the help of that, we have lots of multitude of ways, really, in which we help businesses increase leads, conversions, transactions, the average sale, and overall profit margin with lots of different strategies. In fact, I just counted up the other day, there's over 27 separate distinct strategies that will help increase leads. And those strategies have already been proven and tested and to work. And each strategy takes the person step by step through the implementation and the execution. So all that's required for the person actually looking through the RoB Academy is to apply that information to their own business. How cool is that? I know, Phil, you've used something like this before with clients. Do you find that you know, people are actually get out there and do this work, or are they're a bit hesitant?
Oh, there's a mixture of both, and some get that excited they try and do a little bit of everything. So
Yeah.
there's a lot in there, and sometimes it's like drinking out of a fire hose for them. There's as you said, 27 strategies. It gets the head spinning. The amount of information that's in the RoB Academy, it's sensational.
Yeah. And look, for example, I know one of the most effective and powerful ways to generate leads today is through a targeted direct mail campaign. People are going, what, direct mail, you know? But a campaign like that means multiple mailings, because single mailings really do nothing. But unfortunately, most business owners never attempt a direct mail campaign. Why? Because of the expense involved. But you know, one of the 27 strategies teaches you how to execute a direct mail campaign to as many businesses or homes that you want to target, and you can do that all for free. So it doesn't cost you anything. They teach you a strategy on how you can do it for free. And the strategy requires a minimal amount of your time to do it, you know, but if you really think about how many leads could you generate if you know, sent out a really great, compelling marketing message, which, by the way, this system really does help you get your messaging right, to like a list of 50,000 highly qualified targeted prospects that are actively seeking what you sell. You know, this qualified list typically should give you around about an 18% response rate. So if you send it out to 50,000 homes, you'd produce about 9,000 leads. Now, probably we don't really want to do, you know, 50,000 right now, because who can actually, you know, contend with that? But if you took a smaller sample and really went out to, say, 1,000 prospects, and if you got an 18% response rate, that's 180 new leads coming in the door. And that's just using one of those lead generation strategies. So, you know, if we just want 180, we've got 180 new leads going from baseline to 10%, that's only an extra 100 leads. So that one strategy alone can actually give you more than what you really want, 180 leads, right? But I'm going to tell you a few other strategies that are in there as well. There's our networking strategy. There's also a highly effective referral program strategy. There's also, we talk about endorsement partners, joint ventures, and there's also an event strategy in there where you can host an online presentation similar to this, highlighting what you do using the webinar. So, you know, these strategies are all just a drop in the bucket when it comes to helping you generate all the leads your business can handle. Yep. But whatever one you want to use of these strategies, all right, do you think that, you know, you're going to get at least 10% of more leads by using them? You know, what's been in your experience? Just one strategy, do you get 10%, Bill?
Some you may, a lot you might get a lot more, but 10% would be pretty well a given, especially for one of those strategies that you've just mentioned.
Yeah, I know, because really that's only about 8 additional leads a month, right? 100 extra leads is 8 a month. I mean, well, that's leads, not clients. So that works out to just about 1 lead every 4 days. You could go to a networking group, and if you had a really great elevator pitch, you could probably get 4 leads out of one networking group, really, you know. So let's tackle this next step, which is conversions. So a conversion rate is where a prospect becomes a client and they agree to buy what you sell. And that simply means that you find a way to compel their decision-making process so that they choose you over your competition. So by doing that, you can actually, and you start having a really good compelling message, what happens is that you start getting your conversion rate up. And then if we go to a different pricing strategy, we could actually get those people to come back one more time. And, you know, we do that through different marketing and advertising copy, along with persuasive sales scripts. And, you know, we've got scripts in that system that are better than what 95% of copywriters do alive today. You know, what I find, Phil, and I'm not sure if you've found this or not, but I find that the system teaches small businesses how to really create and own their own marketing message, because you can't give that away. You can't give your marketing message away because, it just takes so long to be able to tell the person that you're wanting to create this for you. It takes you so long to get that across. Plus, they don't have that level of passion. They don't understand your business. They're really only going to do what you tell them. So I just find that the system really allows the business owner to understand that 4-step marketing formula that we got in there, and it also has them own their marketing message and niche into particular areas that they want to niche into. What do you think?
Most definitely. It's an awareness. When people start looking at it, all of a sudden it's in their mind. They're more aware of what they're saying. They're more aware of what their staff's saying. A lot of people freak out when you talk to them about scripts, but we all run scripts every day. Just some are a bit looser than others. The way we answer the phone is a script. And is that script working for you? Simply adding "how may I help you" to the end of your phone answering script puts the person on the other end of the phone in a much better mood. It's been proven. So yes, it's having an awareness going through this, and just people taking the time to think about what is actually going on in their business is a real eye-opener.
Yeah, I used to say that, like your receptionists are the ones, or the people who answer the phones are really the ones that help generate your leads for you, but they never change that way.
No.
But we've got copy in there that's so compelling and persuasive that you can use that, and we have it for over 40 different niches currently at the moment, and it really does position your business to be so great that you are the only business in this field, so you're the only logical choice for your prospects to buy from. So why wouldn't you use something that's already working before? That's what I say anyway, Yep. We teach people how to add value to what they sell. So, you could almost like double what your competition charges, and your prospects wouldn't think twice about paying it, because people don't put price as number one. People put value as number one. So if you can articulate the value that you are to your ideal target customer, then it doesn't matter about price. So we teach you that. The Academy teaches you that. The Academy also teaches you how to eliminate any barriers to entry for your prospects, So we teach you about irresistible offers, and we teach you about drip campaigns for your prospects. So if they don't actually buy from you straight away, that there's something that you can create to start feeding them some information along their buyer's journey. How have you found with drip campaigns and CRMs and things like that, Phil, that your clients, small businesses, do they understand what a CRM is, a drip campaign?
Not initially, no.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, most of them have been actually on the receiving end of them, but they don't know about how they can or should implement them in their own business.
Yeah, I totally get that, and it's just starting to get a bit known about that. But this system, the RoB Academy, has got all about what a drip campaign is, and a CRM is a customer relationship management system, and you just have to Google. There are high-end ones, there are low-end ones, but the one you really need to go for, and this is a tip from me, is the one that's automated the most for your business. All right, so it's all going to be about automation these days. So the more you can automate, the better. Yep.
The money's in the follow-up, they say.
The money's in the follow-up. I totally love that, yeah. So, like what they say is a drip campaign is a series of follow-up communications. And it can be either email or direct mail. It just continually nurtures that prospect until they're finally ready to make the purchase. And you know what? They typically need somewhere between 6 to 12 marketing messages from you. And the more compelling the message is, the lesser amount that they need. So ask yourself in business today, are you currently sending out a minimum of 6 follow-up messages to your current clients? If you're not, you could be leaving some money on the table. So, so we have lots of conversion strategies in there that will work for you. And I am sure that you could get a conversion rate strategy just by using scripts and drip campaigns. You could actually get that up, you know, from 25% to 27.5%. Yep. You think that's pretty reasonable, Phil?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Scripts just give everyone more confidence. It's a lot easier for your staff to actually ask for some business to cross-sell or to do anything like that if they've got the confidence behind them with a bit of a script.
Yeah, no, I get it. And then look, you know, if we have a look at how we're going to teach your clients to come back and buy from you one more time, you know, how many times, there's a really great example with the hairdresser, you know, how many times have you looked in the mirror 3 weeks for guys? I know for women it's probably about 5 after getting your haircut, and you notice that you're beginning to look a little bit long or something's not working, you know. So you call the hair salon and you book an appointment and they schedule you to come in 2 weeks later, you know. But what if we could teach that hair salon a strategy that's going to get their clients to automatically book their next haircut at 3-week intervals? And they commit to this at their initial appointment each time. So do they realise that that one strategy alone is going to increase a salon's revenue by 70%? 70% that would do.
That's massive.
I know. And then I know that we implemented a florist, you know. Most guys buy flowers from their better half, like once a year. And but suppose we could teach the florist to set up a continuity program where, you know, we got something called like the lover of the year or something, where a guy comes into the flower shop, you know, once a year, selects like a prearranged package of flowers and gifts and presents and stuff like that, and then gets all that sorted out, okay, for for the whole year. Like it could be Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, anniversary, birthday, perhaps just out of the blue day sort of thing. And that's already pre-sent to that other half the whole time. And it's got a nice card in it, and all of this takes around about 20 minutes to set up.
But I wouldn't have to do anything. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud?
But the florist generally delivers each arrangement on that appropriate date, sends an email, does everything right, and you don't have to do anything. Absolutely nothing. So the florist could finance all of that for 12 months as well. And there's a credit card all set up each month. So, you know, there's a no-brainer. Guys love it because...
Where do I sign?
Yeah, yeah. The entire year's planned out in advance, and they don't have to make, that typical last-minute dash to the store to pick it up. So if you did that, that florist has just conditioned that guy to buy from them 5 times a year and instead of just once. Yeah?
Yeah.
And the beauty about this is that guy could move away from that florist and it's already done. You don't have to change your florist because, they send flowers all around the world, right?
Yeah, customer for life.
That's it. So we can get these more transactions up, and if you started adding value like that to the florist or adding more value in the hairdresser, and this works for any service business, actually service or product or both business, this sort of stuff works. But you start thinking outside the box, it's easy to get 10%, don't you think?
Oh, yes. Yes.
It's just easy to get it. And when you talk about pricing, if you've already got all your costs associated with, your product or service, and it's already done for you, and you put your fees up. Now, you can't put your prices up without putting up value, right? But if you did that, then all of a sudden, all that money just drops to the bottom line. So there's no additional cost for selling more of this. It just flows all the way down. This is where we start getting leverage, okay? When we start thinking about how can we innovate? How can we do that? Well, the RoB Academy actually goes in and it shows you all of that as well. So, and as far as how can we improve profits, the bottom line, I always talk about systems and automation. And I could just go through, I don't know about you, but I can go through a business's credit card and I could probably pull out about 3 or 4 different duplicates, or they're paying for systems that they're not using. What about you, Phil?
Yes, plenty of times it's the set and forget, or the don't take any notice. That statement's here. Pay the end amount and move on.
Yeah, another example too, and we're going to have a quick Q&A session. I know time's getting on, but we will have a quick Q&A session. It's so much in all of this 5-step profit formula. There's so many different examples as well, you know. But another one is that you can separate your business away from your competition by being unique by what you do, you know. How do you do that? Well, I actually had a tiler once, and he manufactured thousands and thousands of different ceramic type tiles and accessories, but he recognized that he wasn't making profits on 80% of them. It's the old 80-20 rule, you know. So he voluntarily discontinued 80% of his products, and he focused his sales and development efforts on only those products that gave him a competitive edge. You know, that's innovative. You know, a lot of people like to hang on to, oh, we've always done this, so we're going to continue. No, we've got to start looking at, well, if it's not broken, let's break it, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've got to keep moving forward. And that resulted in the rebirth of his company, where he doubled his profit margin and increased his sales.
And that's enormous by him, because it takes some guts to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
So let's just assume, you know, we've put a 10% increase behind each one of those 5. You'd probably spend 12 months doing that. You know, 10% in 12 months is pretty easy to get. You know, you want to get 50%, you can do that in 12 months. But, you know, like I think you're probably looking at more 18 months and a bit longer to do that. I don't know, what's your opinion on that, Phil?
Yeah, I'd say just keep going, implement one at a time, get them going, and go from there. I think if people try to get 50% right from the start, they might get things half done or not quite as operating as well as they could. It's probably to stack them later on. It's better if you've got a good foundation and got those first few going really well.
Yeah, great. And look, you know, the RoB Academy has got 20 simple and easy ways on how to increase your leads, conversions, your average sale, your transactions, and your profit. And they've got lots of ideas about upsells, cross sales, down sales, and how to produce immediate revenue, you know, increases in excess of 30%. You know, I was told that just following up alone gives you 36%. So I think that you can easily get a 1% overall increase a week, which is 50%. But look, let's just say it might take you 2 years. Isn't it worth going from 62.5 to $500,000 in 2 years? Now, you know, I have seen this happen. You do have to work at it. You can't change what you're currently doing, and to do this, you have to find time. And that's what I find the most, is that people just don't find the time to actually spend time working on their business. What do you find with that, Phil?
That's the classic. I haven't got time. I don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Yeah. So I suppose what I'm saying here is that there's lots of tools in the RoB Academy. The power is up to you. You can tap into it. You can double, triple your profits. You can do it whenever you like. Of course, you know, the URL for that is RoB Academy, Academy. It is Academy. I think, yeah, I'm just looking at it is Academy.
Yes, Academy.
At Referrals Over Breakfast. Yeah, .com. And thanks, Phil. No. And, you know, you can start creating exponential growth for your business starting today. But look, you know, we've got a few minutes left, and I'm happy to take questions and answers from anyone that's in today about this. So what have we got? Who have we got there?
Just before you go, I do know one thing, Glenys, and that in the RoB Academy is also some great modules on time management, so that it will help you to actually find the time to implement these strategies.
Yeah, now we've got to find the time to do the time management modules, right? Anyway, who have we got? We got some questions from anyone. So Phil, can you see some questions from people there?
I've got one here from Aaron.
Yeah.
And he's just got the RoB Academy. What exactly is it?
Okay, interesting question. So RoB Academy is it's a learning centre. It's a learning centre where you've got a whole lot of strategies, tactics, resources already done for you, proven and tested marketing campaigns. Like I said, we have over 40 different niches that you have access to. And we have ways of learning through video, a workbook, there's audio, and you can choose, where you want to start. If you've got enough leads, but you're not really confident on conversions, well, then you could start off at conversions, all right? But there is a 52-week program as well, and there are webinars that come out every Tuesday on a particular topic that's actually held in the RoB Academy. So great question, Aaron. And if you do go to Academy, RoB Academy referralsoverbreakfast.com, at referralsoverbreakfast.com, I'm going to say that again. It's https://academy.referralsoverbreakfast.com. Then I think that, you can go and have a look there. There is a price that you pay per month to become a RoB Academy member. It's all on there, but look, more than happy to reach out on the Facebook group and have a chat about that, and we can get you started straight away. And then I also have
Samuel on here.
Yeah, from Sam. Yeah.
Sam just asked a question. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you, Chris.
Oh,
How
good.
you going, Chris?
Great. Hi, everyone. I've been very quiet, thinking you couldn't hear me.
Have you been taking notes?
Yes, but Sam's just asked a question there in the chat. So
yeah, so Sam, thank you. Was interested in the sales copy training information, the RoB Academy. Can you elaborate a bit? Yeah, absolutely. Look, I always say that, your marketing message and your sales copy and that is what actually attracts your ideal target market. Because if you're looking at businesses, every business has a hot button, all right? So what's their pain point and actually wanting to use you? So what the RoB Academy does is it actually takes you through how do you identify your demographic you want, how do you identify their biggest problem, and then how to put that together and piece that together with a 4-step marketing formula that you can actually use for all of your copy. It's a marketing message formula, and you can use that for your copy. But not only that, is that there's already done for you proven techniques, proven sales copy and marketing messages that are already there for many different niches. And look, for instance, there's lots here for a chiropractor, but the chiropractor fixes the ailments of a physiotherapist and sometimes a reflexologist and things like that. So, you can just mix and match a lot of the marketing already done for your campaigns to suit your needs. So there's plenty of sales copy in there. And we would just take you in through to the sales area, and you'd have a look through all the strategies and tactics and do some of those videos. Yeah.
So,
great question.
Adrian's just jumped on here as well. He's just asking, he's just a small plumbing, he's just got a small plumbing business. He says, would it work for my business?
Oh, absolutely. This system is it's structured enough in these 5 key areas, but it's so flexible enough that it's going to work for every business, because it's all about your marketing message, right? So what are you putting out there? What is it that you're putting out there underneath the noses of your actual target market? Because if you get your message right, they're going to come ringing on your phone. Plenty of things in there for plumbers, by the way. So yes, it's going to work for any business and any economy. And I would go so far as to say that it would work for any business up to about $10 million. Once you're turning over about $10 million, you've probably got your own marketing agency, and they've already got copywriters, and they've got lots of people there that they already hired. But the small business owner doesn't. the small business owner doesn't have the big pockets that they can dip into to repeat ads time and time again, like, some of these bigger brands, and that's how we remember them. So your marketing message has got to be so different and compelling to A, your competitors, and B, to, like all the average people out there, for your target market to pick you. Yeah, great question. Is there any other questions there? I know, look, we're just on time now. We're just on 6 o'clock here in Melbourne. Chris, have you got anything you want to say?
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, no, look, I think you've covered it all, and I guess...
Sorry, I forgot. I didn't have my video back on then when we were doing the questions and answers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think you gave it comprehensive. I guess this is our first one, so it's nice to get it off, and I appreciate some of the people that are in the background there, and there's been people on Facebook as well following us there. So
oh, fantastic! Yeah, and look, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. It's our first in the series of Talking Business Wednesday afternoon, drive home in Melbourne. But of course, if you're in London, it could be on the drive to work. Wherever you are, I want to say thank you for being on here. Next week, we're going to be talking on a different topic. Please, shout out to anyone about business. We will be talking about the RoB Academy as well. There's so much in there. I just can't begin to tell you how much it's helped my business and how much I help other coaches' businesses and how much it's helping their businesses. And I know, Phil, you're coaching businesses as well. So Phil's from Profit Improvers, and he coaches businesses. In fact, didn't you grow some business from 400,000 to over $1 million?
Yeah, 1.256 they turned over last year, so he's going along really well, and they like me very much.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. That's an awesome result. So look, if you've got any questions, tune in to us for next week as well. Ask your questions, or jump on the Facebook group, or jump on the RoB Academy and have a look around. And reach out to us wherever you can. Thank you so much for being on the call tonight.
Thanks, Glenys. Thanks, Chris.
No, thanks, Phil. Thank you. And thanks to everyone else that's on the panel there. So,
thank you all.
Okay. I'll let you.
Okay, so I need to do